Welcome to Alex's ESL World. I'm Alex, and I'm here to help you with your English. This is my introduction to American pronunciation. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to the idea that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different American accents. I'm going to be teaching you the one that I know best. It's the accent that I speak. I could tell you that I grew up in South Carolina, but I don't think I really sound very much like I come from the south of the United States. There are many, many dialects in the South, and for some reason, I don't think I sound like most of them. I could say that I live in California, which I do, but I don't really sound very much like Californians either. My husband's family does. Many Americans think that standard American English means English without an accent. The truth is, everyone has an accent. I can't put a label on mine except to say that I speak American English, and that's what I'm offering to teach you in these lessons. As for standard American English, linguists disagree on whether or not there is a standard American English. I have read that standard American English is English spoken by the wealthy in the United States. But most agree if there is a standard American English, it's the one used by news anchors and many actors. It's one that doesn't show which part of the United States you come from. Just keep in mind that I'm teaching the way I speak, but there are many variations. I'm going to show you a presentation that I've shown many students over the years, and I hope it's going to help you to understand what the sounds are so you'll be able to make the sounds of American English. So first, we're going to talk about the IPA. What is that? It's the International Phonetics Alphabet, and it's a chart that contains a symbol, kind of like a letter, for every sound in every language in the world. And if we use the IPA to learn the sounds of a language, we know how to pronounce a word. This is what the IPA looks like. Many interesting symbols here. Don't worry, you don't need to learn all of them. Only the ones found in American English. So here's the same chart with just the English sounds shown in red dots. See? Not too bad. Now, if you want to know how to pronounce English, you really should be taking notes. So feel free to write down whatever you need to that's going to help you remember what those sounds are. First, I want to distinguish between the names of letters and the sounds of letters. First, look at the names of letters. The symbols between the slash marks are IPA symbols for the sounds. The first one sounds like A. That's the way we pronounce the letter A. Next, you can see the IPA for B. It looks like B, but that's how we pronounce B. Next is C. Don't get confused by the C. Remember, that's the IPA for the sound of the name of the letter C. These are how we pronounce the names of the letters A, B, and C. Now look at the bottom part. This is just about the sounds of the letters. Between the slash marks, we still have the IPA symbols. The first one looks like the letter D, but when we use the IPA, we're talking about the sound, and that sound is D. The next one looks like a lowercase I, but it's the IPA, so this sound is E, and that's the name of the letter you see here. I hope this doesn't confuse you. We're going to work on that some more. Let's talk a little bit about names and sounds. So what is this letter? It's A, right? And what's one sound that letter makes? You might say, ah. Yeah, that's one sound. Sound of the letter A. How about this? This is a B, right? So, what sound does it make? It sounds like B, B. I hope you can hear that. B. What's this one? This is a C. And a C usually sounds like K, K. All right? What about this one? I didn't want to go through the whole alphabet. That would take forever. So this is a Z. At least in the United States, it's a Z. And the sound that a Z makes is Z, kind of like the sound a B makes. Z. Okay, so those are the sounds that these letters make. I hope you know what I mean now when I talk about the sound of a letter and the name of a letter. We're going to take a look now at the sounds of the letters of the American English alphabet. We're going to do the vowels in this video, and I'll continue with the consonants in the next video. Let's start with the sounds of the letter A. In this chart, you can see 3 rows under long, short, and 3 others. The vowel sounds under long are when the sound of the vowel is the same as the name of the vowel. We don't actually write the little line over the long vowel or the curve over the short vowel, but that's how I was taught as a child to determine a long vowel sound and a short vowel sound. Some teachers say that long vowel sounds take more time to make than the short vowel sounds. For me, I just think of the long vowel sounds as when the name of the letter is the same as the sound of the letter. Each vowel has one sound that we call the short sound, but there are other sounds that most vowels make. You might know that spelling in English is very tricky. It's true. Even native speakers have trouble sometimes with spelling. Don't feel bad if you have to look something up. We do too. So back to this chart. The top row is how we usually spell words with the vowel we're looking at. The middle row shows the IPA symbol for the sound. And the last row gives you some examples of words with each sound. Repeat the sounds and the words after me and watch my mouth to see how I form the sounds. Ready? The first sound is A. I'm showing that this sound is spelled with an A, but it's also spelled with AY. And there are some other ways to spell it. I'm providing a handout for you that shows other ways of spelling these sounds. For now, practice the sound. The example is play, play. Next we have the short A sound of ah. This IPA doesn't look at all like a letter. Some of the IPA symbols are the same as letters and some are not. The example here is hat, hat. Then we have one that most languages use with A, and that is ah, ah, like father, father. The next sound is when we mix ah with an R sound. We put them together to make the sound R. R. Yes, it does sound just like the word R. Notice that the IPA for this sound is an upside down R. That's the English R sound. The example is arm, arm. The last sound in this chart sounds like aw, aw. This symbol looks like a backwards C, and our examples are law and caught. Repeat, law, law, caught, caught. Got it? Okay, let's move to E. The first one here is the long E, and it sounds like what most languages spell with an I. Notice that the IPA for this looks like a lowercase I. The sound is E, like see, see. Be careful of this one. The short E sounds like eh, as in bed, bed. The next one is a sound without a specific word vowel, but with a little tail. That sound means there's an R sound. So this one sounds like like winner, winner. The last one is different from all the others. It has that same vowel sound that doesn't really sound exactly like any other vowel. The IPA is an upside down E, and this is the only IPA symbol that has a name other than the name of the letter. It's called a schwa. To make the sound of a schwa, you need to relax your face and make a sound like about, about. Focus, focus. Sofa, sofa. As you can see, it can be spelled with all vowels except I. And I can only make 3 sounds: I, and E. You can see that the I has 2 IPA symbols in it, and it can be spelled with an I or a Y. The example is my, my. Short I is not found in many languages. This one you're going to need to practice a lot if it's not in your language. The sound is I, as in sit, sit. Finally, the last one should be easy for most of you. It's a common sound in many languages. It's the sound E. Notice that I use a lowercase I for the IPA, and then I put it again in parentheses with 2 dots behind it. I generally don't use those 2 dots, but many teachers and linguists do. It just means that it takes a little longer to make this sound. Listen for it in these examples, and don't forget to repeat after me. Machine, machine. Fierce, fierce. Seed, seed. Pretty, pretty. Notice in pretty that we have 2 I sounds, the short I in the I in pre, and the long I in E. E, pretty, pretty. I tried to think of an English word with O that sounds like O in other languages, where the O sounds like O, without having another sound behind it. I couldn't think of any. So in English, when we make the O sound, it usually sounds like O. That's why I put 2 IPA symbols here for the O. And the example is toast, toast. Notice that your mouth moves a little when you make the O sound. The second O sound is the short O, and it sounds just like the A in some languages. You've seen this one before in the word father. Well, it's the same sound that we make when we say hot, hot. The last O sound has a little tail, like the schwa had when it had an R. This one sounds like or. So the example is tore, tore. The last one is U. The long sound is different from the others. Until now, I've said that the long sound of a vowel is the same as the name of the vowel. But for U, it's different. U sounds like it has a Y in front of the U. U. That's how we pronounce the name of this letter. The sound of the letter is oo. The example word is crude, crude. The sound of long U is more like the way other languages pronounce U. Have I confused you? I hope not. The short sound of U makes you open your mouth a little, and the IPA doesn't really give you much information. It looks like an upside down V. The sound is like you have a stomach ache. And the example is up, up. Next, the IPA looks like a horseshoe, and the sound is You need to stick your lips out a bit and make this sound in the front of your mouth. Put, put. Finally, the last one is really three sounds put together. It's oo, like we've seen before, a schwa, which is and an R sound. If you put them together, they sound like oor, oor. And the example is tour, tour. Well, that's it for the single vowels. Do you remember that some of the vowel sounds I showed you have 2 or 3 sounds in one? These are called diphthongs. Some people say diphthongs. Whatever you call them, you need to be aware of these sounds. Most native English speakers don't realize that they're making 2 sounds with these, as we think of them as one sound. But if your mouth moves while you're making a sound with vowels, you're using a diphthong. Let's start with A. You might remember this one. It sounds like A, and it's spelled with either an A or an AY. We had before the examples of play, play. Next, we've seen this one before too. It's I, my, my. The third one is new for you. It sounds like oi, oi, toy, toy, boil, boil. As you can see, it can be spelled either with an OI or an OY. The last one in this chart is one I've shown you before. It's the O sound, and it's considered a diphthong because we close the O sound with something that sounds like a W at the end, like O, O. And the examples are no, no, and toe, toe. The last chart of diphthongs starts with a sound we usually make when we hurt ourselves. Ow! Ow! Do you make this sound when you get hurt? Here you can see how we make this sound with the IPA. It looks like a lowercase a, but a different a from the one we've seen before. It does make a difference. The closed a has a different sound. This sound, together with the horseshoe sound, sounds like ow. And the example is now, now. I don't know why I didn't use the schwa with a tail on it for this ER sound. I could have, but you can also write it like this with the upside down R. This sound is ear. Yes, sounds like the thing that we use to listen to things. The examples are hear, hear, and here, here. The next sound is air, air, and the examples are hair, hair, and there, there. Hopefully you're getting used to this by now. Here's our last sound. It's or, or. Just like our examples for here and here, these 2 sounds are just the same too. They are bore, bore, and bore, bore. One is what I hope you're not, that is bored, and the other is a wild pig, a boar. Well, That's it for this video. I hope you feel like there's some useful information here for you, and I hope it helps you with your English pronunciation. In the next video, I'm going to talk about consonants. And then later in the course, I'll cover some difficulties that many English learners have, things such as reductions, like contractions, and other pronunciation challenges that many people have. Well, thanks for watching, and please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or if there's something in particular you'd like me to cover. This is Alex, signing off. Have a great day, and remember to be kind to each other.